Do you ever wish you could go back and tell your younger self something? I definitely do. Whether that's a bad haircut, a bad boyfriend or relationship, or just wasting your time on things that really don't matter. There's so many things that we would do differently if we could go back and talk to our younger selves. Unfortunately, until they perfect time travel, that's not gonna happen. And even when they do, listen, it's never a good idea to go back and start messing with the timeline. Like, have you seen Flash? Because Flashpoint, not a place I want to be. But that being said, I can hopefully install some of my wisdom into other people and help you avoid some of the things that I would wish that I had avoided, or things I wish I would have done back when. So we're going to talk today about what I would tell young entrepreneur Becca just getting started, or in the first year or two of business. What would I tell myself if I could go back and talk to myself without totally freaking myself out? But first we're gonna change, because if you're like, Becca, you look super weird. You're correct. Today was twin day at school, and so we decided we would all dress up like our gym coach, who never does dress up days without telling him. So there were like 20 of us that were all dressed like the gym coach today. It was pretty great, and the kids all understood it, which was even better. So I'm gonna put on something a little bit less weird, and then I'll be back to tell you all the things that will hopefully help save your life. Whew, I feel so much better. Hopefully I don't have like ridiculous hat lines, but there we go. Also, if you noticed my hat, tell me what movie it was from down below. I'm really feeling like maybe we should have some coffee. Also, my bronzer's a little aggressive. Probably don't need coffee, 'cause I'm pretty sure I had plenty. I was trying to think of like, if everyone had decided to dress up like me, like what would their interpretation be of Miss Davis? And I feel like it would be red lipstick, a headband, and a coffee cup is what everyone would show up wearing if it had been me. So let's brew some coffee. Here, I'll do decaf. That is pretty much entirely for your benefit. All right, well, that finishes up. Let's start with number one. So the first thing that I would tell younger Becca, or younger anybody who's wanting to get started with a business, whether that's TPT or Etsy or anything, I would say go for it and don't be scared to start. The fear of starting stops a lot of people, and it can be really difficult just to get over that first hurdle of going for it. Now, to be fully honest, I wasn't that scared to start, but it was more I was scared of people finding out about my business and people hearing about it, and kind of that judgment. Like, I still to this day really don't tell people about the business. It's really hilarious because husband will tell them all about it and they will have no idea, and they're like, I didn't know you did that. And I'm like, yes, because I don't tell people. And so maybe it's more, don't be scared to tell people, but just in general, don't be scared to strike out on your own, because people will have opinions and their opinions don't matter. So just go for it. Just go for it. Whatever it is you want to start, like, go for it and go into it without having a super finite plan. I do want you to think about it, but whether you have a plan or you don't have a plan, the plan's probably not gonna hold up once you get started. So have like a general idea of like, this is kind of sort of what I want to do, but don't be married to the plan. Just, have a plan so you have something you're aiming at, but don't stress a lot about it. We got purple today. Let's make this. You'll get a little more purpley in a second. All right, the second thing, these by the way are in absolutely no order, but the second thing I would tell to my younger self is that your email list is golden. I was really lucky in that I watched a lot of, actually I didn't watch videos. We didn't have internet. I read a lot of posts that I found on Pinterest from people who had started blogs, because I started with a blog before I started making products, and all these people were like, you need an email list, you need an email list, and I'm a really good student. So I was like, okay, cool, I need an email list. So I started an email list. And so I thank my lucky stars, I thank all those people who wrote all those blog posts so much, because it was so helpful to have my email list that I started basically at the same time I started my blog. Now, did I get tons of people who signed up? you know, with a baby blog? No, because no one was reading my blog, so no one was joining my email list. But as people started to join the email list. And so people started reading, they started joining the email list, and I had that available from the beginning, which means that I got to start sending emails pretty early, which means that I got to figure out how to send emails and what I should send and all of that stuff, as well as I had that, you know, going in. I wasn't, you know, having people read my blogs for years and years and years before I started my email list. But what I wish I could have told myself is just how valuable it was, because at the time I was like, okay, cool, I'll start an email list, but I had no idea what was gonna happen. Like, truly your email list is worth its weight in gold. It is so helpful. It is so good. You get such high conversions from email, people going from email to your products. You can get people to read your blogs. If something happens, you need to send them somewhere else, you can do that. You have a lot more options. Like when I started creating courses, I could send people to my courses and they can purchase those. And so it opened up different options for me because I had that email list. And I grew it over the years, but if I knew just how valuable it was, I probably would have spent a lot more time on it at the beginning and really like nurtured it from the beginning. So if you're just getting started, or you're earlier in your journey, or really if you're anywhere in your journey, I would say make sure you have an email list and really, really, really nurture it. I mean, get people on it and send good, valuable emails. Yes, it's great that we can sell to our email list, but we also want to make sure that we are spending most of our time helping people. And the more that you help people, the better people will stay on your email list, and the more they'll be likely to click on things and open your emails. You don't want to be spammy, but you want to be helpful. Let me see why my dog is whining, and then we'll get to number 3. She just wants to go outside, which, I mean, to be honest, I can't blame her, because me too. Seriously, I went outside for a few minutes before I came and started filming, and it instantly improved my mood. So I guess we're hanging out in here until she decides that she's done hunting lizards for the day. Number 3 is don't stress about popularity on social media. Although social media can be a really great tool, it can kind of feel like the end all be all when you're doing online business. And to be honest, it really hasn't had a huge return on investment for me. I have had years of my life where I spent hours and hours and hours posting and creating content for social media, and it just hasn't had the same return as something like a blog or email or YouTube. All of these things have been so much more profitable over the years than social media ever has. Now, other people are great at social media, so maybe it's just me. Totally fine if that's the case. But to be honest, if I went back, I would be like, don't spend all those times. Like, yes, post on social media, yes, build that following, because it's good to be able to talk to people. That's my favorite thing about social media, is being able to like talk to people. But don't stress about trying to gain followers. Don't stress, just, you know, show up consistently and don't worry about it. Spend that effort somewhere else where you're gonna get that better ROI, because, you know, you only got so much time. I've got so much time. And kind of on that same vein, the next one is focus on the long term. So focusing on the long term means not stressing about chasing, you know, social media, this, that, and the other, but instead working on things that are going to continually get better and better and better. So having really good product listings, having blog posts and content marketing that's gonna get better because people can search for it. And so I get more views on my blog instead of less views on my blog as time goes on. And those things that, like, having those systems in place so that people can go to your blog and buy things, or go to your YouTube channel and buy things. Having those things are just so much better down the line than stressing out about things like social media. I also really wish that I could have focused a little more on the long-term product-wise, because I definitely wasted a lot of time making some products that maybe didn't necessarily need to be made because they don't make me as much money. Some of that is just trial and error. Like, you got to figure out what's going to work, and so you don't know if it's going to work until you try it. But some of it is like just always trying to constantly make, you know, quick things that can turn out quickly, things that can make really big product lines, whereas I probably should have spent a little more time building things longer term. So that's something that I really wish that I had done. So next up is don't be afraid to sell. Selling sometimes feels really difficult for us because in our heads, it just feels wrong. Like, it just feels wrong. It just feels like, oh my gosh, I'm taking advantage of these people. How dare I? No, you're not. If somebody needs a sub plan and you have a sub plan, you are helping them by selling it to them. Don't get in your way and in your head about the idea of like selling, because selling isn't bad. Being salesy isn't bad. I'll link a video down below. I have a whole video about like selling without being salesy. And in there I talk about when I went to buy my car, and I went to 3 different dealerships. And the first 2, they didn't try to sell me at all. And guess what? Your girl didn't buy him there. The first one, it was like he had no idea what was going on. The second one, they knew their stuff, but they didn't really care about me, frankly, is what it was. And they didn't care if I bought it, and they didn't care when I didn't buy it. And they really didn't put any effort into it. They were just like, here it is. The end. The third salesperson actually talked to me and learned about what I needed and what I wanted the card to be used for, and really spent time like listening to me and hearing what I had to say, and actively sold me the car. He told me all the specs, he told me all the great things, but he also told me how I could use it in my life. So it wasn't just like, oh yeah, well it has, you know, a back seat that folds down. He was like, yeah, so you can use this and you can fold it down when you are going camping, or you can leave it up when you have the dogs in there. And you know, like he went through those things and really related it to my life and actively sold me. And at the end he was like, do you want to buy this car? And I was like, heck yes. And I love my car, so totally feel it. But my point is that if he had been like the other 2 salespeople, I may not have bought that car. And I needed a car. Like, yo, my car was 15 years old. I literally would get into it every morning and say a prayer and be like, please don't die. Except on days when I was really grumpy and really didn't want to go to school, that I'd be like, you know, if the tire busts today, it wouldn't be that bad. I'd be like, oh no, I can't go to school, how sad. But for the most part, I wanted my car to work. So like I needed a new car. And so it was helpful to me to have somebody who sold me. When you sell to someone and you actively say like, hey, you should buy this, it gives them the opportunity to make the choice. And if you don't give them the opportunity, they can't make that choice. So whatever it is that you are looking to sell, don't be afraid to sell it. Like when I say sell, I mean like, make a blog post about that product, and at the end say, hey, click here to buy, with a call to action that is very clear. Don't be afraid to sell. You can sell. It's okay. Don't sell 24/7 because that's annoying, but it's okay to sell. That's helping people. You are helpful when you are selling to people, and that is something I definitely needed to hear, because that definitely terrified me at first. The next one is one my husband tells me about all the time. And that is, don't stress about artificial deadlines. I am a bit of an overachiever. I know that's gonna shock you. And so I like to have a plan, and I like to have a schedule, and I like to stick to that schedule, and I like to know what I'm gonna be doing. And so I tend to overplan maybe, and be like, I'm gonna do all these things, and I'm gonna do, you know, this product needs to be up by this day, and blah, 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 blah. And then I stress myself out because I'm trying to hit that deadline that I set for myself. And my husband will be like, Becca, what's gonna happen if you don't do it? You know, like what really happens if you don't post a video this week? What's really gonna happen if this product doesn't get up this week? And usually the answer is nothing. Now, it is important to be consistent. It is important to do the work. Those things are important, but don't stress yourself out about artificial deadlines that you created for yourself, because been there, done that, and it is not worth it. It's okay. It's okay to be like, you know what? We can finish this tomorrow. We can finish this next week. Especially if you're like me and you tend to plan more than you can actually bite off and chew. It's okay to be like, you know what, we're gonna push this back. The world will not end. I'm still working on that one because it does bother me, but I've had many weeks that I have spent just working and working and working and working and working and stressing myself out and not sleeping and not doing this and that and the other, because I'm trying to get something done by a certain time and I really don't need to. One really big reason that I have done that in the past is when I would make content about a certain product that I was making that I wasn't done with. I was really bad about this when I used to make videos every week where I would talk about all the things I was teaching that week, because I then would want to be able to link to everything. And so I'd be like, yeah, and I have this. And so I needed to get the product up by the time the video needed to go up, but the videos had to go up in a timely manner. And especially when you got seasonal products thrown into the mix and you're like, I have to get this up by the season, it just was a recipe for disaster. And so I actually stopped making those videos, in part because they were stressing me out, in part because they just weren't like the best viewed. Like, it was one of those, like, the people who watched them watched every one of them, so I was sad to not have that for them. But the overall, like, the views weren't as good as other things, so you know, it is what it is. But they were more stress to me than anything else, because I had to get the videos up in a timely manner, and then I also had to get the products up in order to, you know, be able to link to them in the videos. And so that led to a lot of unnecessary stress that we had going on. And the last thing I want to say is, don't forget to have fun. It is great to work, and it is great to build a business, and it is great if you love the thing that you're doing to build a business. It is fun to make products. It is fun to film videos, especially when you do it a little more casually like we're doing today. By the way, if you like this format, let me know down below, because I'm trying something new. It's a little weird. You might not like it. That's okay. I can say I definitely am not filming all the videos like this, because that is way too much work. But I'm trying, you know, I'm just trying something new, and it's fun to me to try something new and see if it works. And so that is something that is fun, but not all your fun has to be related to your business. You should have fun that is not related to your business. Go see your friends, go to the pool, go on vacation, and actually go on vacation and put your phone away and don't answer Instagram messages, and like, go have fun, hang out with your husband, go hang out with your friends, go see your mom, like, go do things, go paint, go have hobbies, have things that are not related to work, because even if it's fun to do whatever it is that you're doing for work, it's still work. And so in the back of your head, it's work time, it's not fun time. So don't forget to have fun along the way, because you know what? The years are gonna pass, whether you're stressed or whether you're having a great time. So it's better to have a great time, right? You know, work, plan, all that stuff, but have some fun too. And do take all this advice with a grain of salt, and remember that this is advice to my younger self, coming from overachiever workaholic Becca. If you're in the other boat and you have all the fun and don't do any of the work, then this advice is probably not the best for you. But this is for overachiever workaholic kind of people. Those are my kind of people. I mean, the rest of you are welcome here too, but just, you know, that's who this advice is intended for. So I hope that was helpful. I really wish that I could hop in a time machine and go back, or run like the Flash and go back. I think there might be new seasons of that I need to catch up on. Good thing it's almost summer. But yeah, let me know in the comments what your advice would be to your younger self or to younger Becca. Either one is acceptable. I can't wait to see them. I have actually read my comments this week. Crazy. So, bye.